Before the video ends, let me ask you to stop for a moment. Breathe in slowly. Because what you will see in this last part is not just the conclusion of a show, but a confession of feelings that are honest, slow, and very human. If you've been following Jungkook and Jimin's journey since the beginning, maybe you'll feel something different in this part. There is an unusual atmosphere. Not boisterous. Not dramatic. Only silence feels meaningful. No excessive cheering. No big words are made to provoke emotions. All that remains are two figures standing side by side. Two friends who have come a long way together. Brings laughter, fatigue, memories and feelings that are not always easy to express. Jungkook's voice sounded calm. Each sentence is simple, yet deeply felt. He speaks carefully, as if choosing words one by one so that nothing sounds empty. The gratitude that he conveyed was not only addressed to Jimin, but also to the long journey they had gone through together. There was a small pause between his remarks. A pause that feels honest. As if he wanted to make sure that every word really arrived. Jimin responded in the same gentle manner. His eyes showed that he was really listening. Not just waiting for your turn to speak, but really being present in the moment. This is where emotions begin to feel. Not from the abundance of romantic words, but from an understanding silence. For the audience, this moment was subtly tense. Not because of the conflict, but because we are aware, this is the end of a journey that we have followed with feeling. There is a fear of loss. But there is also gratitude because we were once part of that togetherness. The message at the end of, "Are you sure?" as if to remind us that sincere relationships do not always need to be defined. It doesn't have to be explained at length. Quite felt. And precisely because it is not clearly spelled out, the feeling is felt stronger and longer, settles in the heart. If at this moment your chest feels warm, or your eyes begin to feel heavy, it's a sign that you are really connected to this moment. Don't stop now. Because the most honest part often comes when we think everything is over. Many viewers admitted that they wanted to replay this show. Not because something is missed, but because they want to feel the same emotions once again. From a different point of view, Jungkook and Jimin's story also feels like a reflection of life. About two people walking side by side. Support each other. Without always having to say everything. There's a sense of security. There is trust. There is a slowly growing warmth. This is what makes this moment feel more than a spectacle. It's an emotional experience. When Jimin spoke, his tone was soft and calm. It's not a lot of words, but every sentence feels right on target. He expressed gratitude, pride, and hope in an honest way. No excessive promises. No big claims. That's exactly where the power is. The closer to the end, the more subtle emotional tension is felt. We know the screen will be dark soon. The music will stop. And this journey will be completed, but the message they left didn't end there. It continues to live in the minds of the audience. Presenting the discussion. Memories. And a warm feeling that's hard to explain. Many remain to watch until the last second. Not because they wanted to know what was going to happen, but because they weren't ready to let go of that atmosphere. If you're still here, stay a little longer. Listen to their breathing. Pay attention to small expressions that may be missed. All those details form a whole message, and when it's all really over, don't leave right away. Let the feeling subside for a moment. If you feel touched, share your feelings in the comments. Invite others to watch until the end. Because your support is a form of appreciation for the sincerity they show. Once the screen goes dark, those emotions often haven't really gone away. It is precisely there that many viewers feel something deeper. A warmth that does not fade quickly. The message, "Are you sure?" it feels like a whisper that stays in the heart for a long time. Not a cry that is quickly forgotten. There is a sense of calm. There's a sense of security. The silence between their words is the most important part. Short gaze. Little smile. The way they stand close together. All of them convey a deeper meaning than long sentences. This closeness is not something made up for the camera. It grows out of time. From trust. From a long-established togetherness, and maybe that's what makes many people feel afraid of losing it. Because this kind of togetherness rarely comes in the same way, but this is not a sad ending. This is a grateful ending. Because we know, what we are witnessing is something real and sincere. Jungkook and Jimin are not trying to make a dramatic impression. They're just being honest about their feelings. And that honesty is what makes this moment warm, safe and touching. If you want to feel the same emotions again, feel free to rewatch. Because a sincere story always has a new layer of meaning every time we return to it, and even after the parting words were said, the lingering feelings still continue to pulsate quietly in the chest. It is as if something is not really finished yet, although the screen is already almost completely dark. Many viewers admitted to staying seated in their seats, staring at screens that had begun to dim, not because they were waiting for a follow-up scene, but because they were not ready to let go of the warm atmosphere they had just felt. There are brief moments where the background music is barely audible. Only silence fills the space. That's where emotions feel most honest. There is no dialogue. There are no fast-moving images. Only feelings flowed slowly, making room for the audience to digest everything they had just witnessed. The feeling does not come as sadness, but as a sense of fullness. Like after completing a long, tiring but meaningful journey. There is satisfaction. There is relief. And there is gratitude because we know, we have been part of something sincere. Many then replay these impressions from scratch. Not because they want to look for missed details, but because they want to return to that atmosphere. Return to feeling calm. Again feel a simple but deep closeness. The story of Jungkook and Jimin reminds us that not all relationships have to be spoken in big words. There is a feeling that is quite conveyed through presence. The way someone listens. The way a person stays, even in silence. Perhaps that is why the message, "Are you sure?" it feels so strong. Because he doesn't force us to answer. It just invites us to feel that if you are still watching up to this point, it means that you have also felt the same emotional bond. You have walked with them, even if only through the screen. And it's no small thing, every little smile that appears. Every brief glance is captured on camera. Any pause between words. Everything is part of a bigger story. A story about togetherness that grows slowly and sincerely. This is the reason why many viewers say that this show never feels completely finished. Because his feelings continue to live. Remembered. Talked about. And shared. And when you finally close this video, let that feeling stay for a while. Do not rush to forget about it. Because maybe, without realizing it, we are also learning about the meaning of togetherness from them, and even though the screen is already completely dark, many people still feel something left in their hearts. There was a silence that did not feel empty. Instead, the silence felt full. Like a small space inside the chest that was suddenly filled with a warm feeling that was hard to explain. Some viewers admitted that they closed the video with a slower breath than usual. It was as if their bodies were adjusting to the calm atmosphere they had just witnessed. No words were spoken, but the feeling still continued to work inside. There comes a moment when we realize that what we are watching is not just someone else's story. We are reflecting on ourselves. About how we value someone. About how we present to the people we care about. About how a togetherness can feel safe without having to always say, and perhaps that's where the greatest strength of this message lies. It does not give orders. No promises. It's just a reminder, reminding that the most valuable things are often present in the simplest form. A look. A pause. A small smile that appeared unplanned. Many returned to open this video a few days later. They say, it feels different when rewatched. Slower. Deeper. And more noticeably, because when the initial emotions have already subsided, small details begin to appear. The way they stand. The way they look at each other. The way their voices sounded was softer than usual. All of them form a feeling that cannot be summed up in one sentence. And when we realize that, we also begin to understand that not all endings are forfeits. There is an ending that actually leaves a sense of fullness. Taste enough. A sense of peace that if you've reached this point, you're probably feeling the same way. A warmth that is not urgent to explain. Enough to feel.